to rivalries that never die. And if you thought the Big Apple reached its limit, think again. Or better yet, pick a side. New York Red Bulls.
Bradley Wright-Phillips, what can he do?
NYCFC. It's the first installment of the New York Derby. Right now on Fox Sports.
Can I go?
What's up, everybody? Welcome on into MLS Classics Remix. I'm Susannah Collins, and today we are taking it back to May 10th of 2015, the birth of the Hudson River Derby, the very first time ever that the New York Red Bulls hosted NYCFC, the newbies to MLS. Before we get started, though, want to give a huge shout out and some major love and thoughts and prayers to all of the healthcare workers, the doctors, the nurses, the orderlies, everybody working so tirelessly on those front lines during this pandemic right now. They're working so hard to keep us all safe and healthy, and especially in the New York City, New Jersey metro areas. We are with you. We're staying home for you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to our cast of characters today. I am so stoked to be with this group because we have the one and only Dax McCarty, currently with Nashville SC, but at the time was the captain, wearing that captain's armband for the New York Red Bulls. And we have one half of the soccer Cooligans, Mr. Alexis Guerreros. Gentlemen, I am so excited because, number one, you guys are my buddies, but so I don't know who decided to get this group together, but I am just not mad at it one bit because this is going to be crazy fun. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Excited to be on. Excited to see Alexis sitting over there with his NYCFC jersey. Can't believe he decided to wear it on this, but yeah, excited to be here to relive a fantastic memory for myself and all the Red Bulls.
It's going to be amazing. Alexis, I see you wearing the NYCFC jersey here. We were supposed to have Chris Wingert on this broadcast. Unfortunately, he was having some Wi-Fi issues at his parents' house. So you are going to have to represent the NYCFC contingent here on this broadcast today. But I feel like you're up for the challenge.
Well, then I'd like to apologize to all the NYCFC fans that I'm the one who has to represent you here. What do we say? Let's get ready to take an L. I don't know what to say.
I know it's, we all know the outcome of this one, but we're just going to have fun with it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the emotions heading into this match. So this is the first time that these two teams were facing off against each other. So this rivalry was, it was completely unfounded at this point. And Dax, for you guys, for the Red Bulls, New York City was your town. And then here come the new guys with, David Villa and Frank Lampard, who was not on the roster at this point. But what were your emotions heading into this game? Were you guys treating this like it was a serious rivalry?
We were. And we knew that they were the noisy neighbors coming in to make a splash, riding around in their, on the blue with the blue capes and having their big name DPs come in and kind of trumpeting around the we play in New York, they play in New Jersey card, and we didn't want to hear any of that. So it was obviously an emotional day. It was very emotional being a part of those first matches, especially the first one hosting it at Red Bull Arena. We wanted to make a statement, and I think we did.
Yeah, definitely, as we will soon see. Okay, so Alexis, for the NYCFC fans, it had been kind of a struggle to start the season. I think it took a while for this NYCFC team to kind of gel and come together. So what was the sentiment amongst NYCFC supporters approaching this match with the Red Bulls?
I mean, there was a lot of excitement going into it. We wanted to see this rivalry get started, and there was a lot of passion on both ends. I'll say passion, right? There was a lot of, it was a lot of tension, right? But we were, on a 7-game losing streak or winless streak, and I think we ended up going something like 13, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 11 games winless. This wasn't a great moment to start a rivalry on our end, you know? It's like showing up to a birthday party without a gift, it felt like, you know? But for the most part, we were excited to get it started. And I got to be honest, Red Bulls needed to beat us, right? At that moment, NYCFC had all the buzz, even though they were losing. And NYCFC and Red Bulls had just got rid of some of their big name stars, although they kept one, which is the man right there, or the other way. He's right there. But everyone else, they got rid of, so they needed to win this game. And I think you'll see they did a pretty good job of it.
It was decent. It wasn't the red wedding, which we will not talk about for your sake, Alexis.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that more.
Dax was actually, before we started, he was like, I thought we were going to talk about the red wedding game, and I was like, nah, we can't do that. We can't do that to our NYCFC fans.
I wouldn't have signed up for that.
Too mean.
I wouldn't have signed up for that.
Exactly. We wanted you on the stream. Okay, so let's take a look at the starting lineups for both of teams. We're going to start with the New York Red Bulls. And oh my gosh, Dax, I love looking at this lineup because it's just a bunch of legends. I get the chills when I look at this. What comes to your head when you see this lineup?
Yeah, it's a lot of nostalgia here looking back at it. Going through this team, it was a great team to be a part of. You have the stud, the Iron Man, Luis Robles in goal. You know, he led the back line well. A guy who was the best left back in MLS for a long time, Kamar Lawrence on the left. Damian Perenelle, Matt Miazga, really solid center back partnership in the middle. Young guy Chris Duval, who was really good for us that year. And then our midfield, the midfield three, two guys that I really enjoyed playing with. I thought we had a great connection. We formed a great bond, me, Sasha, Felipe, and then the three-headed monster up top. Lloyd, Sam, Bradley, Wright-Phillips, Mike Grella. Too much quality in that group. And it was honestly just a ton of confidence going into that game with the group we had.
On this team, it's crazy. Alexis, what do you think?
What's the lineup?
Man up top, David Villa kind of floating behind him, trying to get as many goals as possible, right? And I wish we got some more from him. Grabavoy, all right, Grabavoy, Jacobson, and Alvarez. I forgot we're on the team. Mixed Discarud, beautiful head of hair. That's the most I could say from him in this match. We got RJ Allen, right? Love the guy. Winger didn't show up to this. It didn't show up to this game either. He missed the broadcast and he missed this game. Hernandez, dude's Puerto Rican and from the Bronx. I'm not going to say nothing about him. And then we got Williams in the corner and Josh Saunders, the only man that had our back this match. Shouts to Josh Saunders.
All right, well, let's get right into the match.
He also has a beautiful head of hair. He also scored the first ever goal for NYCFC.
Look at that.
I mean, this is the highest we're gonna feel all game right here as an NYCFC fan.
Yeah, going into this game, I mean, seeing Red Bull Arena full, feeding the energy of the crowd, we were up for it right from the beginning.
There was also a pretty big contingent of NYCFC fans. We got to give them credit. From the get-go, you could tell that NYCFC was going to be a really good away team. As far as support is concerned, not so much the playing. Not this first year. Dax, do you consider yourself a defensive midfielder primarily? I mean, I know early on they called you a box-to-box.
I do. Now, early in my career, I consider myself a box-to-box guy. I fancied myself as a little bit of a creative player, but honestly, when I got moved back to play the number 6, that's where I really came into my own. That's where I really felt comfortable. And I have to thank Hans Baca, my first coach in New York. You know, he saw me as a guy that could play in that position, and I think it served me well, especially during my time at the Red Bulls.
I remember Hans Baca. I remember that. That was also Thierry's first coach, right?
It sure was. Set pieces. This is where we always tried to take advantage of our opponent. We were some of the best set piece teams in the league at this point. And so we worked probably hours on the training field and different set piece routines. Sasha was one of the best servers of the ball in the league. That one didn't work out too well for us, though.
Sasha's one of those players that's just so frustrating to watch your team play against him because he doesn't look like he's ever really putting in an effort, and it's just magical, you know?
Right. So for me, when we started this game, we had a lot of energy. We wanted to start the game on the front foot. And Alexis, we felt like we could get at NYCFC down the wings. We had Mike Grella, Lloyd Sam, two of the most dangerous players going 1v1 against guys in the league. And we felt like that's where we could kind of get at NYCFC, was down the flanks with Brad kind of trying to create havoc in the middle of the box there. And I think you see the way we started this game. We were up for it right from the beginning. High pressing, kind of doing what we did so well that year.
It's super frustrating when you watch this match or any of the old previous year rivalry matches. If you ever rewatch it or watch the highlights, it just seems like there's a Rebel player always at the end of the ball. Like any deflection, anything, there's a Rebel. There's times where I'm like, are they allowed to have 13 players out there? That's ridiculous, you know?
And that's how Jesse coached us, right? Jesse coached us to be more than the sum of our parts. Right, and we had a lot of guys that could do a lot of different things really well. But even guys like Lloyd Sam, Mike Grella, guys like Damian Paranel, I mean, Jesse made us into better players, right? And that's how we were as a team. We were very cohesive. And look, being a part of an expansion team like I'm a part of right now, it's not easy. I think this is going to be a really fun moment in the game for you, Alexis, though.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'm going to cover my eyes. Damn it,
yes,
RJ
sir.
Allen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was RJ Allen's fault. I think his brother
but
played for
exactly what I
Rebel.
told you. Exactly what I told you, though, man. Exactly what I told you.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not RJ Allen's fault. No
line.
one was covering. No one was covering BWP. Look, watch. You're going to see it in the replay. Completely by himself.
Yeah, but look at it. Watch his movement. Watch his movement, though. Look at his movement. And look at Sasha's
There's no one
movement.
around him. There's no one around him.
I agree, but watch Sasha. Once he plays the ball to Lloyd, he gets in the box, and look, he draws Jason Hernandez out, and obviously not great defending, but those movements that those guys had, they were basically second nature at this point. And you give Brad a chance from that close, he's going to bury it.
He's going to bury it most of the time with someone covering him, never mind him by himself.
That's true. Very true.
Anyways,
that was pretty much the perfect start to the game for us.
What was frustrating for me is, like, this team does well when whatchamacallit, like, this team does well when, like, we get the ball to David Villa. And that was, like, the purpose of having, you know, Dax kind of stay, like, not Dax, I'm sorry, Mix. Too many people's names end in X. Mix floating in the middle. And you know, David Villa kind of playing a little closer to him, trying to use that target man up top with Kyrie Shelton, who's not only got the height but the pace, you know, and he's clearly shown he could do that well. Right. He still does it to this day. But it's just, if you don't get him the ball, look at this. We have no one in the box until how late? You know what I mean? Like, this is just too much.
Right.
And I think it's a credit to you guys.
Right. And for me, the biggest issue that we faced when we played teams was Damian Paranel was a really good center back. He was getting a little bit older, didn't have too much pace, but he was fantastic playing out of the back with his technique, with his feet. So Matt Miazga was kind of that athletic version that we needed to cover him. But obviously Kyrie Shelton, we were worried about his pace in behind us. And so that's why when he was 1v1 with Shelton, that was always a little bit of an issue for us.
This was so frustrating because we wanted to beat you guys so bad. And the reason why is just like, it felt like you guys were kind of like on the ropes a little bit as far as like marketing to the city. You know, like this would have been such a, you know, it would have just been taking the reins of the city to win this match. I remember how frustrating it was to watch, knowing we came into this game in a 7-game winless streak. We were hoping like, well, maybe here's the moment we turn it around, you know?
Right, that would have probably galvanized you guys, but we knew that. We knew that going in. We knew that this was a big game for you guys, and that current form really didn't matter. So for us, getting the early goal was huge. I think once we got the early goal, you guys are actually showing that you settled into the game a little bit better, started to get comfortable. We knew all Jason Christ teams, they wanted to have possession, they wanted to keep the ball, they wanted to play the ball on the ground, create chances that way. And so for us, getting that second goal early would have been obviously ideal, but I think for an expansion team and for the pressure that you guys were under, you settled into the game decently.
It's just like, come on.
That man, Lloyd Sam, again. I think Lloyd was so underrated during his career with the Red Bulls and in MLS in general. I don't think Lloyd ever got a lot of the credit that he probably deserved.
Is this his last year at Red Bull? I think he ended up in D.C. after this, right?
He did end up in D.C. He ended up in D.C., I believe, in 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it's the year after this, yeah.
Right.
This is 2015. My favorite part about watching this is just thinking back to that first year as an NYCFC fan in the stands. And I got to be honest, I'm sure there's a lot of fans that don't agree with me, but the losing didn't matter. It just felt good to have like a team that you're now all of a sudden kind of rooting for, and you can put your passion behind. But yeah, I mean, nobody wants to see this, and certainly nobody wants to see that 7-0. I mean, at least not on our end, you know?
Right.
Grella, the most frustrating thing about Grella, too, is like, he's like a beast with the ball at his feet. Like, I think he had a chance to play for NYCFC, and they didn't sign him for whatever reason.
Alexis, this is a crazy story. When Mike Grella came into preseason with us in 2015, he had told me that he had been training with NYCFC to keep David Villa fit for the start of the season. He also had been training with, I believe, the New York Cosmos. I think he had been training with one other club as well, hoping to sign a contract. And nobody offered him a deal until he came into camp with us at Red Bulls in preseason. This man was on fire. I think he scored a goal in every single preseason game. And it was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen, and that's why he got a contract and then earned his starting role in this club. And he was so integral to our teams those last couple years.
Yeah, there's like yeah, I think Mike Grella, when you look at someone like Mike Grella, just someone who can hold on to possession that well, someone who can play the wing, someone who can play one-on-one. I think he nutmegged Lampard, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how a guy like that doesn't get signed by NYCFC if he's in your camp.
Alexis, I still remember this moment, this tackle. I think Matt Miazga, he went in studs up, he won the ball, but I think there was a hole punctured into the ball. One of the weirder moments that I've ever been a part of in my career. The ball, if you can see the ref, he's holding the ball. It was completely flat. I've never seen anything like that. That's a souvenir. That should be in a museum somewhere.
Did he have knives on the bottom of his studs? How do you do that?
I have absolutely no idea. You need to ask him.
And there's the best play from Mix this whole match. Thanks, Mix.
Oh man, what a funny moment. What a funny moment. Absolutely fantastic tackle by Miazga. Look at that. Insane, right? It's like somebody had a knife on the bottom of their boots. I think Miazga, he was preparing for his move to England, so he was wearing the real long studs.
Yeah, also, thank God he got the ball, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, that would have been a bit. Well, I think that's an omen for what's to come in this game. I don't want to ruin it.
As if it mattered. As if it mattered.
Yeah, exactly. So this was really interesting tactically. We didn't expect, it's from a tactical standpoint, we didn't expect to see David Villa on the left. That was something that took us by surprise a little bit. I think they wanted to give him the freedom to kind of camp out and not really have to do a whole lot of defensive work. And it definitely threw us off because David Villa, he was so dangerous down the center of the field, but tactically we had to adjust a little bit and make sure that Matt Miazga was constantly covering Chris Duval on that side of the field. And I think both of them did a fairly good job of it until a little bit later in the first half, as you will see.
What happens inside of a game? Because I don't know if you could actually, Jesus, I mean, this is real year one NYCFC right here.
But this is expansion team stuff, you know. These things, the miscommunications these tend to happen with guys that haven't played together very much. And
Which
our
is
boy
why
Winger, maybe this is
guys-
why.
He knew this was
Maybe
going to
this is
happen,
why
so
he
he
didn't come
bailed
on the broadcast. Yeah.
Oh, dude, Felipe, no one gets under my skin more as like competing against than Felipe. What a like a Diego Costa, gluten-free Diego Costa.
Hey, all of us, man. Even his teammates. Sometimes he got under our skin.
Dude,
but I
what
will
was it
say
like
that
training
Felipe
against
had.
a guy like Felipe?
Yeah, it made you better, man. It really did. It was annoying at times, but Felipe has a competitive side to him that not many players have, and that's what gives him his edge. That's what makes him so good. And it honestly, I think it made all of us better in the midfield, and it helped us prepare for opponents in a way that honestly is so important when you go into big games. When you have that in training, you're always going to be better.
Is he the most CONCACAF guy you've ever played with?
100%. There's no question about it. But he's a guy, I will say this, he's a guy that when he's on your team, you really enjoy having him on your team because of what he gives you, not only with the ball, his quality, but also just because other teams hate playing against him. They can't stand him.
Lloyd Sam, great player. What was up with that haircut? It's like half a mohawk, half a mullet.
English. Very, very English.
Can't get through to some of these English dudes, huh? Buddy, this ain't the countryside anymore. This is right when I realized this is when I realized that the officials wanted you to win, Dax.
Yeah, that was soft. That was soft. I was going to say that in a derby game, that was a little bit naive. That was a little bit naive of Chris Duval. Villa was a little bit unlucky there.
When you see a guy like Villa coming at you, and in a few minutes we're going to see a play where like they zoom in on the two of you in slow-mo. When he's going towards goal, what goes through your head? Like if you're the only defender, if you're the only person trying to stop him, because you know the quality, right? But you almost don't know what's coming because he can hit you with the speed or he can hit you with the finesse.
You're thinking, I'm in trouble here. the guy he was truly a world-class player. I think that David Villa, for what he did for NYCFC, what he did for the league, I still think he's one of the top 5 or 6 players that has ever played in MLS. And I don't think people really appreciate how good he was for NYCFC. I mean, this guy was absolutely fantastic every time he stepped on the field for them.
Nah, man, he was the club. He was the club for many years.
Alexis, there's a question from Jonathan David on Facebook, and I don't really know if you're going to be able to answer this because it's a tough question, but he says, what is your favorite memory from this first derby?
The first whistle. Oh, I remember
the first
that
completed pass.
Yeah, I think that came after your goal.
The first completed pass was from the first whistle backwards, and then you guys didn't have it other than that.
Yeah, I mean, this was nothing, but this was gut-wrenching. This was nerve-wracking. Nobody wanted to lose, to the New York White Claws or whatever y'all called, you know what I mean? The New York Zimas. Nobody wanted to lose, right? And it wasn't even so much like most real NYCFC fans have a ton of respect for the Rebels and Rebel fans. Y'all been doing it for a hot minute, and you're good at what you do. No one dislikes Jesse Marsh, right? Like, everyone likes the way your team was built. Bradley Wright-Phillips is someone everyone would love to have on their team, especially at this point of his career, when this game was being played. But, like, you look at it, it's like, this is your biggest rival. You just want to win this just for the bragging rights. And that first year was such a struggle. It was like, whatever, let's just get this over with and let's, like, sort of right the ship a little bit,
Yeah, absolutely.
But nothing's worse than, like, big names that, like, all of a sudden, you know what I mean, just aren't playing up. And someone like a David Villa really playing up to his to all the buzz that he has, right, and his potential. But everyone else seems like they're lagging behind. And as a fan, you don't know, is it the coaching? Is it the player? Do they not care? You don't know. So your anger's at everybody.
Right. And look at that hair. My goodness.
Buddy,
need to grow that back out, huh? I still got it. I'm hanging on.
Dax, we got a question from you from Samuel Lee. Is Nashville versus Atlanta a possible rivalry?
Well, that's a good one. I think so. I think it is. The first game of the year, the first game in Nashville's history that we played against them, that was real. The atmosphere was real. I have to give credit to Atlanta's fans. I think they brought 10,000, 12,000 fans down there, or up there, if you will. But I think it has the potential to be a real rivalry. I don't think Orlando-Atlanta has been a real rivalry. It's been pretty one-sided. So even though we lost that first game to Atlanta, I think that we're going to be very competitive in that game, and I hope that it's a game that will continue to grow organically. You know, it's something I wanted to mention earlier about this rivalry in general, the New York Derby. It is something that I think was highly hyped up and manufactured from the league office. But from your perspective as a fan, like from my perspective as a player, it felt like on the field, like it really meant something right from the get-go. Like it wasn't just fake. Like I want to know kind of how it felt in the stands as well.
No, I think it was from immediate. I think as soon as NYCFC started, it was nothing but banter against Red Bulls. And I think a lot of it came from frustrated Red Bull fans that had left to become NYCFC fans. That's, you know, like Chivas fans who became LAFC fans. There's some of that contingent still there, you know? So I think there was a lot of frustration. I think there were people that didn't want, you know, to sort of, you know, say that they used to be Red Bull fans or whatever. I followed the team a little bit because I was a Thierry Henry fan, but I certainly was never like a season ticket holder or fan or anything. So I think that there was already this knowledge of the Red Bulls before NYCFC even got started. So I think it was just as soon as the first whistle blew, this was a real rivalry. Beforehand, I completely agree with you. The front office was doing everything they could to build up buzz. Why wouldn't you? It's the biggest TV market in the country, possibly the world, right? So, of course, you're going to do that. But as soon as that first whistle blew and y'all scored in the, second minute, dog, rivalry official.
This was a really big moment in the game, and I still remember this play. Look at the intensity. We're 18 minutes into a game. You have them arguing for a red card. You have us arguing that it was only a yellow. And I remember in this moment, I was a little bit nervous that the ref would do something a little foolish here and possibly brandish the red card. But obviously, as we know, this would have a pretty big outcome on what happened later in the game. But Miazga got pretty lucky there. He was pretty fortunate, I think. I don't know in the era of VAR if they would have gone back and given him a straight red. But Matt, we have to remember, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this. Matt was, I think, 18 years old at this point. So playing in a game of this magnitude, this big, national TV, you know, I think it was a good learning experience for him. But obviously, I think we got a little fortunate there that he only got a yellow.
I don't know where he's from, but he has a real Jersey attitude, Matt Miazga. Yeah, the moment
he's a Jersey kid.
To him, you're like, oh, gotta be. Because the moment you say something to him, he's like, are we fighting? No, it's like, I said hello. Oh, okay. I also love that you're a player and you said the official's going to do something foolish here. That's such a player mentality right there. That's amazing.
Listen, we talked about this. I don't have trust in the refs. If they make a decision that goes against me, then I'm always going to say that they're wrong. It doesn't matter if I butchered a guy. He's wrong.
Yeah, of course. You got to say that. That's like me. I blame the audience when they don't laugh. I know what I'm doing. It's clearly your fault. You're not laughing.
This is another moment that I think Winger didn't want to see here.
That would have been
offside.
I remember that moment.
It's clear.
I know.
It's clear. Watch the replay. And you know what? It's funny. It's funny because I actually almost keep him onside here. This would have been devastating.
Dude, I remember I was actually on the road. I couldn't be in this game. I think I was in Wisconsin performing, and I'm watching this on my phone, freaking out.
Clearly off. I mean, what do you think? Come on.
Buddy, let him have it. You know? It's a big game.
This was before the VAR era, so thankfully the ref put his flag up. That was a big moment for Winger, man. I'm surprised he didn't want to see this played back.
It's a real shame he couldn't be here, you know?
I was texting with him earlier, like, dude, I can't wait to banter with you. And he was actually excited about it.
Well, where is he?
I think his parents are still using...
I'm commentating on the game. No, I'm commentating on the game. Where is he?
I think his parents are still using dial-up.
That's hilarious. They're trying to give him AOL CDs. I think I got 1,000-hour one here. You want this one?
Oh, what a great guy, man. I know you're crushing Winger, but let me tell you something. One of the most underrated players in MLS. You know how important he was for those Real Salt Lake teams?
He was great.
Player,
and
man, really
the only reason I'm joking around is because he was supposed to be here, so I thought about a bunch of great jokes to make fun of him, you know? But now he's not here, so it's just rude what I'm doing. Josh Williams, let me tell you something. Great player. I'm surprised he only stayed 1 year with us.
I like Josh Williams. I like Josh Williams a lot. He's a versatile guy. He's a guy that will give you exactly what a coach asks. And to be honest, I mean, you look at the way that NYCFC built this expansion team around David Villa. It was a pretty solid team, right? I mean, you get a lot of solid MLS veterans, guys like Jason Hernandez, guys like Andrew Jacobson, who is actually a very good player in MLS, and guys like Wingert. And then you try to build, your attacking players with the more expensive guys. I thought that they had the potential to be a lot better in that first year.
You know what? I think it was honestly, when you look back at it, you could see that. Clearly, I mean, I think Jason Kreis is a great coach, but this wasn't his best showing. And when you look at the way the team was, clearly looked frustrated, just sort of playing and people out of position and everyone arguing with each other. It just had to be something that was from the training pitch and not this.
Yeah, Alexis, I have I really want to read this question to you because it's from a fan, and it's actually something that's been bothering me as well. Question for Alexis from Shaquille Oatmeal, which is a fantastic name. I hope that's your real name, Shaq Oatmeal. Alexis, why are you an NYCFC fan? I feel bad for you.
Yeah, not necessarily a question. I'm an NYCFC fan because I wanted to be with the club from the start, And look, in a few years, when we can't get a stadium and we decide to sell the company and sell the team and become the New York, whatever, Mountain Dew Amped or something, well, maybe I won't be a fan of that. How's that sound, Shaquille Oatmeal? Don't you use a legend from my city against me? No, dude, I've said this before, and Dax, I've had this conversation with you. I have nothing but respect for the Rebels and Rebel fans. I love y'all. I know some of y'all hate me. It is what it is, right? Like, I'm a comedian. If only 1% of the population loves me, I'll still fill stadiums, so I'm goody, I don't need everyone to like me.
I think there's a lot more people out there that probably hate me than hate you. That's for sure. Just talk to all the DC United fans.
Yeah, bro. Did you see what they did? They took you out of the Wikipedia because of what you said on my podcast.
Oh, I'm devastated.
They took you out of the Wikipedia entry for DC United. If you look at DC United the year you played there, you're out.
I'm out. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and put myself back in there. You can't delete history. It's always going to be there.
That's true, dude. And you can make up stats, like most goals in the first 10 minutes or something weird like that. This is like, it's moments like this where, like, players aren't running around. It's like, what are we doing,
Yeah, and that's part of the expansion team thing, man. I went through that, obviously, the first couple games here with Nashville. Players are still getting used to each other. They're still getting used to the coach. You really don't have that much time in preseason to gel. So I know from firsthand experience, it's really not that easy. And the attacking side of the ball is always the last to come. And I will say, 25 minutes into this game, you guys had actually settled into the game really well. I still thought we looked pretty dangerous whenever we attacked you guys. But you guys had possession. You guys were creating chances. You guys were getting set pieces. You weren't ever really testing Luis. I think our back line and our midfield did a good job of kind of keeping things compact. But, yeah, you guys were more than holding your own here.
We got a question for you, Dax, from Marco Alvarado on Facebook. He said, what is the best MLS venue to play at? That's a great question.
It is.
And nowhere near as condescending as the one I got from Shaquille Oatmeal, by the way. I'm sorry, Dax, I spoke over you. What were you saying?
I don't know. Let me just admire this. Let me just admire Lloyd Sam torching your back line real quick. I'm sorry. Lloyd was a pain in your guys' side this whole game. I think we get a little Meg here. Little Meg on mix. Thanks for coming. Chance for Felipe. Felipe had a cannon on him, by the way. Guy would score from outside the box a couple times a year. My favorite venue to play in, and I'm obviously biased, Red Bull Arena. I mean, we talked about this. We talked about it on the Cooligans. When Red Bull Arena was full, and we had a big...
Nice, I just broke everything.
Hold on, do I see David Goss right now?
Substitution? Yo, weird, guys, because in the group chat, when we said we were going to hang out in a little bit, I didn't realize you guys were going to go live without me.
We tried, dude.
I thought we were doing a 3-person hangout.
Yeah, we were supposed to get hummus and falafel, but we can't.
Alexis,
Hey,
what?
Alexis, I'm glad. I hope you missed that attempted cross by me right there. You didn't see
I
that.
did. You skied it. And look, there's very few moments where I can actually celebrate what's happening, and that was one of them. I got to meet this dude.
Susanna texted
I got
me.
to meet with the horns. I got to meet that dude. He's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, he's a legend.
He's a legend.
So you guys, Susanna texted me. She said she didn't want to talk to you guys anymore. So could I swap in for a few minutes? So
Yeah, you can. Susanna was talking to us a little bit before this, and I could see in her eyes that she was actually really devastated that it was me and Alexis, and so I'm not surprised that she's having technical difficulties.
Yeah, rumor is she came for winger, and when Chris dropped, she was like, "Oh, weird, my internet doesn't work."
Wouldn't it be funny if her and
dude.
Wingard are doing another live stream somewhere else?
Watching us watch this game.
They're doing the reaction.
They're like, wow, Alexis really blew the recall of that cross.
Yeah, they're talking about how bad our banter is.
I mean, how could you? You got to have something wrong with you. What'd you miss? NYCFC scored 5 goals.
Sounds like a legend. Interesting. So this is a recreation of history, or it's based off historical truth?
I CGI'd a few goals for us in there.
Dax, what's been your big moment so far?
Probably talking to me.
I'd say you have. I would say absolutely not talking to Alexis. That's been the worst moment, easily. Best moment, other than the goal, quite honestly, has just been the fact that I think we've been so solid defensively. And I think it's not the best moment, obviously. It's been the fact that the most important moment, other than the goal, is Matt Miazga's yellow card so early in the half. I think, obviously, people know what comes next, but I think it made him a little bit timid, a little bit hesitant to defend like he usually does. But then, as we see coming up here, it's a really important moment in the half. It's a really important moment in the game. And to be honest, I'm impressed with how NYCFC has come into the game. I thought we dominated the first 10 minutes, but I think ever since then they've looked pretty comfortable. This guy on the ball is never good.
So, Alexis, Dax still in captain mode?
I am a little bit.
He's still like revving up the troops right now.
You don't see the intensity behind those eyes? He hasn't moved his neck once this whole live stream. This guy can't
relax. Has the mustache left at all, or has it stayed the whole time?
You don't see the intensity in the stash?
Oh
dude,
my God.
It's gonna
this thing holds a lot of this thing holds a lot of memories in here.
Is that an expansion team stash or a quarantine stash, or is that
this is a quarantine stash?
Got it. Not midlife crisis.
No, absolutely not. I take social distancing very seriously, and this keeps my wife far away from me.
Right. Nice. Which is why I have the personality that helps for social distancing with my wife.
What is that background, Alexis? Because it's intense.
Dax is on here, buddy. These are 2011 MLS cards, and we got the 94 World Cup right there in the middle. This was the old Cooligans studio before we got the television show, which everyone should watch at Soccer Cooligans.
8 p.m. Eastern time.
We got Allie and Ashlyn on Tuesday.
Ooh, it's a strong episode.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
stronger than any guests that you've had recently.
Well, no, we brought on last week's show was to practice, so we brought in Dax and other people that nobody cares about. But Allie and Ashlyn. Nice.
Question here, who wins a title first, NYCFC or Red Bulls?
NYCFC.
I guess the title means MLS Cup.
Yes.
This is a tough question for me to answer because I am no longer a part of the Red Bull organization. If you want my honest opinion, I think I don't know. I think both are great teams, to be honest. Both have really good teams. I think NYCFC is probably a little bit closer at this point right now to winning a championship and an MLS Cup. I think Red Bulls are set up for sustained success. Does that mean success in the playoffs? I don't know. It's always something that we've struggled with, always something they've struggled with. But yeah, I think NYCFC has a very good team, and you know, if you put a gun to my head, I would probably say they would win it first.
I hope so. I would love NYCFC to win something.
All I know, Dax, I can promise is no one's putting a gun to your head. This is just for fun.
Thank you. Well, that's not a fun question, David. That's not a fun question at all. Like, I don't want to answer that. Nashville SC is going to win an MLS Cup before either of these two teams.
There you go.
Sounds super reasonable.
Gus, who do you think wins?
I mean, if you're asking based off where the teams are right now, if Dome was still there, it'd be easy to say NYCFC. Because from a squad point of view, first team point of view right now, NYCFC is a better group. I mean, Dax, I think they're the deepest team in MLS.
A tremendous amount of respect for the team that NYCFC has been able to build. They have found a lot of good players, I think, in places that you don't normally look. I think Alex Ring has been, from a midfielder to another midfielder, he's one of the best defensive midfielders in MLS. I think Anton Tinnerholm is a fantastic fullback. You don't find guys like that very often, guys that are going to give you, 5-6 goals, 6-7 assists playing from the back. I mean, they're a really deep team. They're a really balanced team. I really like Keaton Parks. I think he's a good midfielder. I think that they've built their team very well. But for me, Red Bull, right? They have their ethos. They have the way that they always want to build with young players, academy players. I think that if they get like their next 2 or 3 signings right, guys that will come in and balance that roster out and give them a little bit more quality, I'd say going forward. I mean, they're going to be in the mix like they always are.
So I would agree with you. The other question mark is just the coaching change. Last time they changed the coach, they went from one of the best teams in MLS to the worst team for a sizable amount of time. Then they got better. So just how long does your man's Alexis Ronnie Dyla take to get back on the horse?
I don't know, dude. We look good in Costa Rica. I was at that match. We went down to Costa Rica to go watch it. We looked good down there, and it seemed like we really struggled at the beginning of the season. But of all the players you named, I think one that you missed, Dax, is also Chanot. Chanot, I think, is an incredible center back. And, he's got to get that one red card of the first game of the season out of the way every year. You know what I mean? Gets that out of the way, and then he finds his groove. I think like anything else, it's like the thing about MLS is who gets hot towards the end, right? I mean, you guys won. I think you won Supporter Shield twice while you were there. Kind of fizzed out in the playoffs. It's almost like you got to be able to almost like put it to bed a little bit at the end of the season, rest up a little bit for the playoffs. And now with the playoffs being a single game elimination, you know what I mean? Anything can happen.
These teams that we had at Red Bull, especially I think this team, the first year that Jesse took over, I thought we were absolutely one of the best teams in the league, no question about it. We won the Supporter Shield. We were pretty much unbeatable at Red Bull Arena. We made it a fortress. And I think, like you said, getting to the playoffs is a totally different beast. It's a totally different animal. You have to completely change your mindset. And for whatever reason, whenever I was there, it was always tough for us. It was always tough for us in the playoffs. We never really gave ourselves a chance to really put our stamp on the postseason. And I mean, I always look back on my time at Red Bull, and the fact that we never made it to an MLS Cup during my time there is just shocking to me, especially with all the quality we had, with how good our teams were. There's definitely an element of disappointment in that.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that team, like how well you guys did towards, like with Pecky's last run as your manager there, and then Jesse taking over and the shift, and the fact that you guys seem to play better without some of the big names, it made it to us, to fans of the rival team, it felt like you guys were just going to continue to build and build and build.
Do you guys remember the town hall meeting we had
there
after
you are.
Jackie was fired?
There you are tugging on
right.
Villa. And here's the moment where I believed. I believed right there.
And at this point in the game, honestly, from a player's perspective, you're just thinking, why? Right? Like, why would you make a challenge like that? And I think we can all agree Matt Miazga is a tremendous center back. He wouldn't be playing overseas if he wasn't. But this was when he was young. And I'm fighting for him right now. I'm like, ref, you made the wrong decision. Look at Villa.
But you know
trying
it
to
was
get
the right
going. That's
decision.
not a foul. It was.
But does that ever work?
It was probably the right decision. It never works. But look, you always have to put your mouth in the ref's ear and just say, look, I think you made a mistake there. Maybe give us one back. Going the other way, like that was pretty soft. But ultimately, this was a big moment in the game because I think for the most part we had everything under control. You guys had a little bit of possession, but you weren't really creating too many chances. I think that was a huge turning point in the game. But mentally, I think we were really strong. And look at that. You got your striker, the NYCFC killer, back in his own box making tackles. That was the mentality we had to have the rest of the game.
The back heel, always. Nothing annoys me more than a back heel. But when
and you know what surprised me? You know what surprised me, Alexis, when we did get the red card, was that you guys didn't press us a little bit higher. I think we still in this game had a little bit of time and space to still have a little bit more of the ball. I think you guys ended the game with more possession, but ultimately we were pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that only makes it harder to watch the rest of this game. When they zoom in and they show you kind of tugging at David Villa's shoulder, what is going through your head at that moment? What do you think that does that help? And two, are you just trying to do it not so hard that he'll fall and you get a card?
Yeah, I'm just don't let him build a head of steam, because if he gets a head of steam on you, it's over. So I was just trying to break up his stride. I was just trying to do anything I could to kind of put him off balance. He's not an easy guy to play against. I don't have to tell you that. But Miazga, he took care of that for me when he decided to take out the guy that had the ball. If the ball can't ever get to the best players, then you don't really have to worry about it. You don't have to foul them. But I don't think Villa appreciated that. Tactical change coming up soon. The legend Carl we met about to come in.
Carl we met. I don't remember that guy that much.
Carl was good. He was a really good center back to have. He was a good option to have. Deadly in the air. I don't know if he scored many goals for us, but no, this was when we probably did now. I think Sasha goes out wide here. Grella's not happy. Grella's a Long Island guy. He's not happy about being subbed out there.
So what do you do in a moment like this when you go to 10 playing back at this? What do you go to like a 4-3-2?
So we switched formations to a 4-4-1, I believe.
4-4-1.
I believe we were in a 4-4-1, and I believe the instructions from the bench were essentially Brad was going to play up top, Sasha was going to play on the left, me and Felipe were going to be in the middle, and Lloyd was going to stay on the right. But Lloyd and Sasha, instead of staying super wide, those guys were going to come inverted a little bit and try to keep the midfield very compact.
Because it seems like, just from remembering this game, yelling at a comedy club green room while staring at my phone, it seemed like you guys still were really well compact. It was really hard to break your lines. And it was just, this is one of the most frustrating things about playing a team like yours, is that your system even works when you're down to 10.
Right. Hey, man, by the way, we just lost another host. We lost David Goss, so now it's just you and me again. They can't keep up with us. We're just spitballing.
They can't keep up with us. We're too good.
I don't think they can. Anyways,
Buddy, who knew?
Yeah, I remember.
Pairing, huh?
I remember thinking that NYCFC, part of the Jason Christ teams, is they were very methodical in their approach. They always wanted to pass the ball around. They always wanted to play pretty soccer. They weren't really super direct teams. And so when you have a team like us at Red Bull, who we were very interested in keeping the game tight, keeping the game compact, pressing, keeping the ball on one side of the field, if you let us move side to side, you were never going to break us down. And so I think NYCFC in this game, after we got the red card, they should have upped their tempo. They just never really upped the tempo. They never made it really difficult for us to defend them.
I'll tell you this
guys,
much.
I just jumped off real quick.
Oh,
there he is.
Jason Christ, and he told me specifically they were going to press you after they went up a man, but Alexis was like, not happening. No chance. This is the game plan. This is what we come in with. So I can confirm. That's why I had to jump off.
That's why I'm here.
Anytime you need to take a bathroom break, just let everyone know, okay? You don't have
Charlie
to
Davies on our podcast asked to go pee one time. So learning from, USMNT legends.
See, this is the problem between Extra Time and Cooligans. We pee while we're on mic, okay? We stay on mic. Yeah, dude. We got wireless, my guy.
Wow. I didn't know you guys shared literally everything with your fans.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's how you make good content.
I asked the fans at the end of the year, what's the one moment you think signifies Cooligans the best? And the number one answer was the story of me almost getting arrested while going number 2 at LAFC Stadium at Bank of California. So if that gives you an inkling as to the Cooligans fans, now you know. Like, that would never be allowed on extra time. Unless you went to go get Tam or something. It's just
part of the world. Oh, man, I don't even have a response to that.
I will say this. When you were gone and when Susannah was gone, me and Dax had this, dude. We're great.
We were flowing.
I'm enjoying it.
David, just sit back and enjoy the show, buddy. All right?
Yeah, we got this, dude. We got this.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Weeby's not here, dude. You don't have to carry the load. We got this.
You mean my daily routine?
I will say at this point in the game, for us, it was all about just getting to halftime. We were down a man. We were up a goal. We had just made a big sub. We brought off an attacker, put in a center back. The message from the bench was, slow the game down, let's get to halftime, and we'll regroup.
What is Jesse Marsh's like his intensity like? Because seeing it from a fan's perspective, he seems like he's going to bite the head off of a snake, to get you guys excited.
Did you ever watch him play?
You know what? I caught it in glimpses, but I don't remember. He played for Dallas, right?
No.
Jesse played for Chicago.
Chicago.
He played for Chicago Fire. He played for Chivas USA for a good while.
That Chivas USA team that he was on with Sasha, Brad Guzan, they played the Galaxy in the playoffs, and it was an awesome series, and that was that was Bob's team.
They were a good team.
Christ.
That
Jason Christ played for Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was thinking that. All right.
Yeah.
There's a great video of Jason Christ with blonde dyed hair on Dallas doing a backflip as a goal celebration.
Hell yeah.
Dude could jump.
Yeah.
I will say that, what a tackle. I was really proud
in front of him. You didn't do nothing.
I just stole the ball from David Villa. I mean, come on, man.
Did you look down and go, not bad, huh?
Yeah, but I will say that, like, Jesse as a coach was, he was similar to how he was as a player. Extremely intense, but like most of the time in a controlled way. He was very controlled. He was very deliberate in how he wanted to deliver his messages. He could motivate you by yelling at you if he needed to, but he could also put his arm around you and let you know where you could get better and where you could improve. And I think he did that for all of us individually, but also as a team. We really rallied around the message that he would give us before the game and during halftime.
Dax, the first time he came in and was like, we're going to high press everyone, we're going to change the way the league plays, we're going to jump all over teams. Did you think you'd fit that? Were you excited or were you nervous?
I did. I was excited because I was still, when Jesse first came in, it was after the 2014 season. We had guys like Thierry and Tim Cahill, Juninho, Rafa Marquez, right? We were a little bit older, and we really didn't have too much of a defensive game plan. The defensive game plan was just let's sit, let's be compact, like let's not really overexpose ourselves, and let's use our attacking players to win games. When Jesse came in, he flipped the script, and the first conversation he had with me, I'll never forget it. It was at a coffee shop, and he just said, "Look, Red Bull, like we want to change the dynamic of everything that this club is all about, and we want to be young, we want to be energetic, we want to press, we want to basically be winning games based on how we're going to high press teams." And I thought, all right, sounds a little wild, but I'm up for it. I was feeling really good about it. I was feeling like we needed to refresh in that way, but it was a really good I think move for myself. I mean, I was a guy who always liked to play with a lot of energy, and to have a coach tell me like, hey, guess what? You can go run your face off for 90 minutes. That was fun.
It's obviously a lot more physically taxing, though. No,
it is, and that's. I mean, you can't understate how physically taxing playing like that is, and so I think there is an argument to be made that it could have affected us later in the season. In the playoffs, when the games got bigger and more intense. That's certainly a factor, but ultimately it was in our DNA. We only knew how to play one way, and we were always going to play that way.
You guys,
this
two
is so
Hall
frustrating.
Legends facing off. Sasha Question and Jason Hernandez.
Yeah, we were still finding a lot of space on this field. I mean, we were still finding a lot of space. Whenever you guys had cheap turnovers, kind of like that one.
Look at this. Look at this.
I needed that assist, Brad. Come on. But he was off. He was off. Good half from us. Never want to end the half down a man, but ultimately we had what we wanted. We had the lead. Yeah, we had the lead going into halftime. Down a man. It was always going to be an interesting second half.
So you guys, I'm David Goss, the worst version of Susannah Collins, but internet is our second biggest issue right now in the world. So she had to step off. I'll be here with Dax McCarty and Alexis Guerreros for the rest of this one. Let's start out with hashtag MLS Unites. This week, it's about fitness, how you can stay fit, how you can stay engaged while we're all laid off in this time of COVID-19 pandemic. Dax, what have you been doing to stay fit? What have you been doing to stay active?
I've been trying to do quite a few different things. I had a stationary bike delivered from our team, so I have that out in the backyard. I'm not a big biker, though. I try my best to only do that once or twice a week. Right now, I'm in a beautiful neighborhood here in Nashville, which is pretty quiet. I like to go outside. The weather here is incredible right now. I keep my distance from everyone I see, don't worry, but whenever I can go outside and get some fresh air and run around my neighborhood, I try to do that. And our team is keeping us engaged. We have apps, we have weights, we have medicine balls, we have bands, we have everything under the sun you can imagine that we're doing, trying to stay fit. But I will say it's not easy. It's not easy when you don't have that team environment to continue to push you and motivate you. And getting touches on the ball is not easy either. My son Callum is about to turn 1 on April 18th, but he doesn't quite understand how to pass the ball back to me yet. So it's difficult to get touches.
Sounds like a born natural striker.
Yeah. You know what? He's actually touching the ball a lot with his hands. And my one wish in this world is that if he does like soccer, that he is not a goalkeeper. Yeah. So I'm gonna start making sure that I reprimand him every time he touches the ball with his hands.
Alexis, I assume you're currently in a plank right now. You're just at your apartment, just in plank at all times for 24/7, right? Just to stay fit.
I'm trying to stay fit. What I've done is I've limited the quantity of chips that I eat per sitting, okay? And when I go to the bathroom, I go high knees. You know what I mean? I also like to engage my core while farting. I think that's very important. So other than that,
got to keep that comedian body going.
Right? I know. I don't want to injure myself, so I don't want to go too far. You know what I mean?
Well, we're having fun here, and of course, MLS is going to keep coming at you with these MLS Classic remixes. Next Wednesday, it's the Rumble at RFK 2004, epic playoff match between the Revs and DC United. You guys have heard of Taylor Twellman before. He talks a lot. He's on things. He scored a lot of goals. And Leko Eskandarian, DC United legend, current employee at Major League Soccer. They'll be joined supposedly by Andrew Wiebe and Matt Doyle, but we all know that I'm just going to jump in for one of them in the middle of that broadcast as well. So I'll be there, Andrew will be there, Doyle will be there. Who knows, right? Maybe Alexis pops in, Dax. Did Dax mute himself?
He'll join that.
Is he that mad at me?
Maybe he'll show up for that one.
Dax, what would you have to say about the Revs DC United 2004 playoff game?
I would have to say that I have very little recollection of it. That's what I would have to say. But you know what? I could hop on and give my unfettered opinion. I have nothing else to do, guys.
I think Jesse Marsh played in that game, right? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. When he played for Dallas, Alexis.
He did. Yeah. He did play for DC United his first year in the league.
He did.
The play is debatable, but he was on the team.
Right.
Did you guys see the Instagram live of me helping Cal Martino cut his hair?
I have not watched it yet.
I saw highlights of it.
Somebody asked them in this questions who was the roughest, or the most aggressive player he's ever played against, and he said Dyak. Do you guys remember that guy?
Yeah.
It was like the cowboy they
Troy
called
Dyak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to look up the highlights he was talking about.
He looked like a hatchet man on a hockey team.
Yes.
Or he looked like Eastbound and Down La Flama Blanca.
She sure did.
What a reference.
That I've already thought about this, Alexis, because we had to do a San Jose Mount Rushmore, and I looked him up. He broke 2 bones in his spine, had his hip bones fused onto his spine to replace it. Got cut from MLS, went to the lower divisions, got cut from the lower divisions, finally made a team, tore his MCL, and still made it back to MLS and started an MLS Cup final that he won.
Jeez.
That's savage.
Yeah. That guy was put together like Frankenstein by the end of it.
Yep.
Dude,
Major League Soccer.
Here's my thing about
2003.
NYCFC. The way they want to play is clearly so much more efficient when you have someone like Maxi Morales being able to distribute the ball. Because you could see in this match, the moment we get into your final third, we fall apart.
Yeah, 100%. And that was always going to be an issue for you guys with having David Villa play out wide. There just wasn't a lot of creativity to get him the ball. Clearly, being down a man, this was always going to be a difficult task for us to keep you away for good. And that was a fantastic chance right there from Ned. But yeah, you guys started putting a lot more pressure on us in the second half. Clearly a little bit of a tactical change there from Jason. I think Villa started coming further infield. RJ Allen was starting to push up the wing a little bit more. That was a fantastic tackle actually by Chris Duval to not let Villa get the ball. But our whole mindset was basically if we can limit you guys to just shots from outside the box, we like our chances with Luis Robles in goal.
We have a question here from a fan named Mike G, which I think is obviously Mike Grella, so technically a fan. But Grella Dino wants to know, give us one of your, I don't actually think it's him, give us one of your favorite stories from the Red Bulls team. I think this is for Dax, but it might be for
Is this for me?
Oh,
sure. Man, one of my favorite stories. Jeez, where to begin? I might have told this story on the Cooligans, but I had a birthday. I had a birthday that I was celebrating out in the city, and we went to a comedy show. And one of the comedy show's name was actually Batsu, which means punishment. And highly recommend,
like the Lower
by the
East
way.
Side, right?
Right. Highly recommend,
Yeah.
by the way, for any and all New Yorkers once hopefully everything goes back to normal. But anyways, it was a bunch of comedians, and they would do like some improv, and whoever had the worst improv, they had to do a punishment. And so, of course, it being set up, my birthday, I got called up on stage to help out with something. My team allegedly lost. I was pissed. I was yelling at the ref, obviously. And myself and Connor Lade had to put on tutus in front of the whole crowd and most of my team and get a ballet lesson in front of everyone. And that was a good time. That was a good time from everyone involved.
I actually have
a
favorite Red Bull story. I was at One Oak, which is a nightclub. This might be 2012, 2013. And I see Mehdi Bellucci. And I go, yo, what's up, Mehdi? And he goes, how do you know who I am? I was like, dude, I'm a soccer fan. I go, what are you doing here? He's like, he was the first to show up. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dax, it was your birthday. It was somebody's birthday. And he was the first person to show up. And he was sitting by himself in VIP. And I'm in the other section of VIP. And I'm like, why don't you come hang out with us? He hung out with us. And then a couple other players showed up. And he went and hung out with y'all.
Mehdi Bellucci is an absolute legend. Come on, Lloyd. Come on.
He's on this team right now.
That was a huge chance in the game, by the way. Unbelievable save. I'm not sure who that defender was that just saved it off the line, but that's what we were talking about, Alexis. When we went down a man, we wanted Lloyd and Sasha to play really narrow. And so that ball through, that's exactly what we wanted. Who is that? Is that RJ Allen?
I think.
That was a good play, man. If we go up 2-0 there, I think we're coasting. So that kept you guys in the game.
That's a New Jersey born and bred play right there.
Yeah. That kept you guys in the game.
Dax, we talked about this a little. We did the Mount Rushmore for Red Bulls this week. And with this 2015 team, the creativity of... Did you disagree with any of it?
I'm flattered. I probably... Look, man, I'm flattered. I'm honored to be a part of that. I think I would probably disagree with myself.
Dax, I got to go full disclosure here because of this experience. I didn't put you on mine. I was outvoted.
Listen, man. It's honestly, it's an honor to even be in the conversation. That's all I'll say. I think that when it comes to a team with as much history and as many great players as Red Bull, it's really tough to just do a Mount Rushmore. Like, if you told me to give like my top 10 players in Metro Red Bull history, like, I would still be snubbing probably like 5 or 6 incredible players that did a ton for the club. So, look, man, I think if you were asking me to give mine, I would have definitely gone Thierry, Brad, Luis, and then any one of like JPA. I mean, do you remember Juan Pablo Angel, what he did for that team? Tab Ramos, Tony Miola, Yuri Djorkaeff. I mean, the amount of world-class quality players that they have there has just been
Why
fantastic.
don't we just put Lloyd Sam in?
Oh, guys, I think this is a fun moment for me. Hold on. Alexis, this is for you, buddy. Go! Hey, Alexis, go ahead and look at my screen before you look at the replay here.
I didn't know we were doing
How
props.
do you feel about that, buddy? I told you I had a surprise for you, and I wanted to put it on after the first goal, but I think we were having a little bit of technical difficulties on our ends. I couldn't see you, and so I just figured, hey, look, Bradley Wright-Phillips had a double this game. I'll wait for the second goal. Look at this break, though. This is exactly what we wanted. Oh, this is so great. I mean,
do some leprechaun heel kicks?
Where is our defense? We literally are up a man. And there's
look,
for the
I
second
just don't
goal,
think.
This is the first of all, Bradley Wright-Phillips didn't even work for both of these goals. No one's covered him in any of these opportunities.
But, dude, I just don't think you can have a transition moment any better than that. Like, I think if you look up, like, in some sort of, like, soccer Bible, how to transition down a man, this clip will be in there, right? You win the ball deep in your end.
Because you putting on that hat was a great transition. I think that might be the top.
Much better than what I had going for me before, right?
You know, I challenged him to a rap battle, and he said no. So, Brad's got bars.
He didn't want to bury you.
That?
Yeah,
he
does. Yeah, he didn't want to bury you.
I told him he would win.
He would have buried you.
I would have been funny.
But hold on, Alexis, I don't want to move off this goal yet. I mean, because I want you to know how good of a goal that is for transition. Okay? When you get your attacking players the ball, Lloyd Sam. Look at this. Here we go. Perfect. Amazing ball to Sasha. It's just like clockwork, man. It was too easy.
Yeah.
It was too easy.
I mean, why? When you practice, when you were in training back then, did you remove all the defenders and that's how you trained? Because that's basically what we gave you at that moment.
Listen, we were so dangerous that the defenders had no clue who to mark. Their heads were spinning.
Look how frustrated David Villa is. He tries to bring the ball up all the way himself. Look at this.
Yeah, this is
he
the
tries
part
to do it
where
all
Villa's
himself.
like, this is mine.
Yeah, fine, I'll do it. Just like in Spain.
España?
That was like
TJ
wasn't
Ermita
his
wants to
nickname
know,
Taxi?
by the way.
Yeah, his nickname is Taxi. He's a beast.
In Belgium
What's
now.
up, Gas?
TJ Ermita wants to know, Viking Army or Third Rail, which is the best defo?
Oh,
Ooh.
Can't answer that. I will say, look, the best tifo that I saw when I was there were a lot of them. A lot of great tifos, to be completely honest. But my favorite one was Bradley Wright-Phillips. I think it was kind of like a car emblem. And they had BWP 99, and then it was after he broke the record. It was like massive. I think it went up, and I'm not sure exactly what game it was after, but it was such a cool moment. I think he went over there, he applauded the fans, they recognized what a great season he had. And he's just, you guys, look, you know who Brad is. He's a quiet, he's a humble guy. He's like a humble superstar. And the fact that he was being recognized in that moment for his accomplishments for the club was something I was really, really cool to see.
I think the Rebels get a lot of credit. Rebels get a lot of credit for that retirement. One with Pirlo and Lampard. But, I mean, y'all guys had Rafa Marquez, Juninho. Relax.
I know. I didn't want to mention that one because it was funny. You have to admit the banter was quality.
Yeah.
It was
but
great
that's like
banter.
me calling somebody
Come on. That's true. But let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. Lampard still had a ton of quality when he came to MLS. And so did Pirlo. It just, obviously, I think the
Pirlo
MLS
never
game
showed
didn't
it.
really suit him. He never showed it. I don't think the MLS game... I really don't think the MLS game suited him. I think
because they asked him to run.
Yeah, exactly. But I even think if you asked him, he would admit, like, I think he probably underestimated it a little bit. Both legends, though. That's why I didn't want to mention that one. But it was good banter, though. It was quality.
Lampard gets a bad rap because he got hurt, which it happens, whatever. But he scored 12 goals when he was healthy.
Yeah, but what about him not coming on time?
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's what really pissed off.
If you get
a lot
injured
of people.
because you extended your European career, that's on you.
Except
I can't put an asterisk there.
But now on the flip side, Josh Williams now told us he took them all out in Manchester and had an epic night where they all chugged vodka for like 10 hours. So
look, I'm not saying it was all negative.
For it, a little bit.
It was not all negative.
By the way, Dax, a lot of fans are in the chat right now saying you should do this full time. You're a great commentator.
First person to say it was
Thank
me.
you, guys. Hey, guys, I got to say, I'm getting texts right now from my guy, Jay Hernandez. And he is asking me, how many times will he have to cover for Chris Wingert this half?
Also, tell him that Alexis says hello. I'm out here representing his squad by myself. Much
Alexis,
like he had
bro,
to do
tell him yourself. I'm sure he's watching.
Come on, dude. And also, as a Latino, you got to come on our show.
He's also
I'll
the
get him
only
on.
Bronx native, right?
I'll
and the only Puerto Rican
this.
that I know of to ever
Alexis,
play for the
Chris Armas.
I'll facilitate this. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. I'll facilitate it.
Did I ever tell you that Chris Armas' mother-in-law came to see me perform at Long Island?
No way.
Yeah, dude. She actually grabbed my arm at the end of the show. She goes, "Are you really a soccer fan?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you know who Chris Armas is?" And I go, "Yeah, he's the Rebels coach." She goes, "He's also my son-in-law." And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, first Puerto Rican." And she goes, "Yeah, in-law." I go, "Dude, first Puerto Rican coach. Of course I know who that is." And she goes, "Half Cuban." I'm like, "I'm Cuban." I mean, it was great.
I think the biggest Puerto Rican soccer legend in MLS history is Bill Gaudette. So.
Oh,
man.
Bill Gaudette.
Yeah.
Oh, that was going in, by the way.
I actually think Josh Saunders may have played for Puerto Rico as well.
I think so,
Don't quote
too.
me on that one. Yeah. It used to be like if you went and played for the Puerto Rico Islanders for a month, you were allowed to play for the national team.
I don't know how MLS doesn't have a club in Puerto Rico. You know how lit those away days would be?
Oh,
Let's go.
I got some friends that played for the Puerto Rico Islanders. They said it was absolute heaven.
They competed in CCL too. They were good group.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Great jersey.
We've got a question from something called the Soccer Cooligans, and they want to know outside of the Cooligans, obviously, Dax, who are your favorite stand-up comedians?
Other than the Cooligans, because I'm a big fan of them. Okay. And they are the only comedians to send me a gift. I'm a massive Dave Chappelle fan. I was devastated when he went walkabout, and just no one could find him, and no one knew where he was. But one of his stand-ups, and I can't remember which one it was, exactly what it was called. I was crying laughing at numerous bits in that. I'm a huge
one of the greatest
Chappelle
to ever
fan.
do it.
And Chappelle Show. Some of my favorite stuff I've ever seen.
Greatest sketch show of all time.
And there you have it from a very good comedian himself. I'm sure
You
that
could say
Chappelle.
great. I won't be bashful if you say great.
Can we send Chappelle that clip? I'm sure he would be flattered.
He's probably watching right now, Dax.
I'm sure he is.
People don't know, low-key, he was a big fan of NYCFC that first year.
After that, he thought that they sold out, but first year, Chappelle thought it was real.
He was there for Christ, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, look! Can you guys just look at all the space that we have to attack? I mean, this is
I know.
wild.
Don't you see how frustrated I am? Look at this.
Here we go. Winger one-on-one with BWP.
Good job, Winger, dude.
Oof.
BWP could attempt and get it shot on frame from any angle. It's so
Yeah,
frustrating.
he could. Yeah, he could. That was a super underrated part of Brad's game, though, was how he played with his back to goal. He was really strong. And he was really quick, really shifty.
Well, I got a question for David Goss. Who's got better movement without the ball in front of goal, BWP or Wondolowski?
Wando is a savant at that one thing. It's hard to take it from him because I don't know that Wando does anything else great, if not good. But his ability to get on the end of anything that's moving, to wait that half second so he could step into it, all those things, it might be Wando. Brad does 8 other things 10 times better than Wando does, but that one thing, Wando might be the man.
I will say I agree with that. I think Brad does there's a lot of things in the game that happen that Brad does a little bit better than Wando, but in terms of pure movement, in terms of finding space in the box and the ball being able to find him no matter what happens, Wando is second to none. That is something, if you look at every single goal that he has scored, it's probably him pulling off the shoulder of a center back or going to a space that's been vacated in some way, and his teammates don't find him. The ball finds him. I mean, that's the only way to describe it. And I have very painful memories from Chicago of Chris Wondolowski scoring 4 goals on my team and breaking the all-time record, and I'm ashamed to say that I was a part of that, but I'm also really happy for him because he's a tremendous guy and a fantastic player.
Who was the most frustrating guy to play against, Dax?
Most frustrating guy to play against?
Yeah, that you would go up against.
I always had this rivalry with, this will be a fun name from the past. I had a pretty big central midfield rivalry with Tony Chani. I hated playing against this guy.
Legend.
Tony Chani, it was during the Columbus days. It was early day. Oh, that was a good chance for you guys. It was the early days of the Beerhalter era. And it was Tony Chani and like Will Trapp and Higuain in the middle, and Chani was always the guy that would kick the hell out of me on numerous occasions, and he would always talk, and we would always banter back and forth, and I would always be like, yeah man, like Red Bull, like they replaced you with me, and like it was good banter, man, and he would always have some jabs at me, and he was a tough guy to play against, though. And then, funny enough, we ended up being teammates in Chicago, and we all that first locker room encounter was a little bit awkward when we kind of looked at each other like, oh, we're supposed to not like each other, but now we're boys all of a sudden. Like, that's cool, man. Like, we'll forget about all the crazy things we said to each other in the past.
I think Tony Chani was there. Was that Thierry Henry's first year, right?
Yeah, he got drafted.
Yeah. It was Thierry's first year, and I think they hit it off pretty well. I think Thierry liked him a lot. Poku,
here comes Poku,
Alexis,
man.
you gotta tell me about the legend of Poku. This guy was an absolute stud.
Dude, no one knows. I mean, maybe y'all do, and you can't say it, but no one knows why he wasn't starting. Because every time he came on, it was just like, I don't think he ever knew what was supposed to be happening. Like, he wasn't paying attention. But moments of brilliance would come from this man's feet. It was so frustrating.
I think you just explained why he didn't start, because he had no idea what was going on.
That ball wasn't great. That ball wasn't great. But this is, so for me, like, from my perspective, this is the type of game that Poku wouldn't be able to shine in, because we're up 2-0, we're down a man, we're basically playing to give no space in behind us, and Poku was a guy who just thrived in space because he was such a beast, and he was fast, and he was strong, and he was good on the ball. And I remember, Alexis, some of the goals he scored for you guys back in 2015, amazing. And you were just like, dude, this guy's incredible. This guy's going to be playing in Europe in a year or two.
Imagine he'd been on your team. For him to be able to high press, play in transition.
That would have been a really good fit for him. And I hated playing against this guy. I mean, he was a really nice combination of size, strength, speed, but he was also really tidy and clean on the ball. And so when we actually saw that he wasn't starting, that was actually a good thing for us. We actually were very happy about that.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe this, but on the fan end of NYCFC, we were not thinking it was a good thing for us. We were very frustrated by it.
Look at that hair. Alexis, look at that hair.
I know. Again, that's his highlight for his MLS career, is
beautiful.
His hair.
No, stop that. He did score your first ever MLS goal. Give credit where credit's due.
I can't forget it.
Against your biggest rival, Alexis.
Yeah. You know what I like about Quadru Poku is how much Ronaldo loved him, because I think he coached him at Silverbacks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Look at all that space. Oh, look at this. Got to be the hat trick. No!
I think that's the only way to get Bradley Wright-Phillips is to not score, is to just let him run on his own.
Oh. Could you imagine? First Hudson River Derby hat trick, first game played. What a play this was, too, by the way.
Wow.
Look, it's hard for me to be... what a save this was. Alexis, it's hard for me to be too critical of the back line here for NYCFC, because honestly, when you're an expansion team and you're a little bit disjointed and you don't have a lot of time together, we talked about this a little bit, when you play against a guy like BWP, who's honestly just a machine, and he doesn't stop running, and he doesn't stop with his movement, it is really, really difficult to take everything away. And I think at this moment in the game, NYCFC is down 2-0. They're playing a high line. They're trying to press us and make life difficult for us. When we have space in behind with guys like Lloyd Sam, guys like Sasha, who could pick a pass as well as anybody back in this time, and guys like Brad, I mean, you really just pick your poison. It was really tough to stop us.
Also, I don't mind giving up an extra goal if at least we're going for it. And I think if I remember correctly, Patrick Mullins has a pretty good run when he comes in, and here he is. I remember the look on David Villa's face is burned into my memory.
So pissed.
He was like, "What are you doing?"
The look on my face is burned into my memory. I was
look at
like,
that look,
"Wait
dude.
a second, you're subbing David? You're subbing this guy off?" I would have liked to known what the dynamic was in those early days between Christ and between.
I
Villa.
could guess. I could guess what it is.
I had friends that trained with Villa the year before the team started, when he was just hanging out on the Upper West Side, and then would just go to Central Park and play soccer. They just looped in a bunch of the ethnic league dudes to just come and kick it around with him, but you can't kick him. So I had some friends who played on the Serbian Montenegrin leagues that would show up and just play soccer with David Villa on a Wednesday afternoon.
That's how you know a guy just loves the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the first player signed before there was anyone else on the roster. And if I remember correctly, he was posting on Instagram that he was in Central Park. I used to run around Central Park, walk around Central Park looking for him.
Hey, Alexis. Alexis, we got a mutual buddy saying what up. Drew Connor said, "Tell Alexis I said what up."
Tell Drew.
And he also wants to add. Nah, you're going to be mad at him. He wants to add that Chicago pizza is better than New York pizza.
Well, clearly he's been doing too many headers. You know what I mean? Something's wrong with his brain. Only one of the two things he said is actually pizza. So
I firmly disagree with that sentiment, by the way. I've had both. I've lived in both cities. New York pizza, hands down, better.
I mean, thank you, but it's not.
Dax, what's your slice? What's your place?
John's Pizzeria.
All right, so no slices.
7th, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. It's the coal oven spot on Bleecker.
Yeah, it's close to Bleecker.
But they don't do slices,
Amazing
so they can't
pizza.
be your favorite slice, though.
They don't. Well, it's my favorite pie. We'll go there.
You guys, the one positive of pandemic when no one can go outside is I can get Giuliano's pizza now because there's no lines. You just call it to go pick. I've never had it before. I've had it 3 times in the last 3 weeks. Support local. Doing my part.
You got to support locals, dude. I live above a pizza shop,
Mehdi
so
Bellucci,
I'm sitting pretty.
Red Bull legend.
Ain't this the
Red
year
Bull
after
legend.
he
All the
did
time.
his famous celebration?
Let me
the year after he's on the rival.
Let me tell you guys something about this guy, Mehdi Bellucci. He is, hands down, along with Thierry and Danielson, the best 5v2 player I've ever seen. This guy's technique was silly. Clean feet, unbelievable player, man. Really, and by the way, Alexis, I think I'm almost positive, I don't want to butcher this, but I'm pretty sure he's a coach in the NYCFC Academy, if I'm not mistaken.
He is.
So let me tell you, he is going to help you guys produce some incredibly technical players.
I sure hope so, because I've said this before.
This all the time. Oh, Alexis, you want to go first?
No, you go first, baby.
He's the American 10 that we never knew we needed, that we should have had. When
Brad just got
Colorado and
flattened, by
RSL
the
traded
way.
him for Kyle, I was like, good trade. Mehdi's the man. Mehdi's a baller. Turned out I was wrong about that in retrospect. But he was so clean on the ball.
My boy Jay Hernandez just flattened Brad. That was a statement, Jay. That was a statement. That's frustration right there. I see it.
No, Daz, you know
Look
what
at
that is?
Jesse.
That's a Bronx hello.
Yeah.
My guy.
You know what?
Took him out.
Jesse's advocating for a red here, and I have to fully disagree. That was a foul, and Brad took a hefty shot there from my guy Jay. But
Also, Jay's a Latino, so he knows this. This is what we call fuacata. When something like that happens, you didn't mean for it to be that hard, but the other person shows off a little bit too much, or it really takes it as fuakata. Like when your mom hits you because you did something wrong, fuakata. You know what I mean? Your car gets totaled, fuakata. Fuakata.
Alexis, we got a few replays for you here.
Yeah, I don't see them for some reason on my screen.
You want to walk us through this?
Yeah, this is Bradley Wright-Phillips being left alone so that he could score because we wanted to give you this game. And here, look, oh my God, look, it happened again. What a shock. If you don't cover a great score, guess what he does?
I tell you what, man, we at Red Bull, during this time, it was pretty comfortable for us. Like, Mullins actually came on, Jason Kreis actually looks pretty smart here because I don't think he should have took off Villa, but putting Mullins on was a good call. It gave them a little bit more of a target man up top to go along with Kyrie. And Mullins actually was the one who created a few chances for you guys. We were kind of coasting, though, at this point. I had felt like, all right, they're not going to score. We're going to be able to get through this 2-0, maybe get another goal on the break. But Mullins, he made life pretty difficult for us there at the end of the game.
Patrick Mullins, he's
ready for the next fan question?
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
I mean, Alexis,
yeah.
I want to hear what you have to say first.
I think, in basketball, we call them, chuckers, Bubba chuckers, you know what I mean? Just those dudes that could they put up shots from wherever. Maybe some of the other parts of the game are a little frustrating, but the dude can score. Patrick Mullins is that guy. That dude just knows how. He scores buckets. That's what he does.
He does. He's scored everywhere he's been.
Dax, Jack D wants to know, what was the better experience, winning the Shield in 2013 or 2015?
Oh, man. Whew, that's a tough one, man. They were both really unique in their own right. I think 2013 edges it just a little bit because that was not only one of the first major trophies I had ever won, but that was the first major trophy that the entire organization at Red Bull had ever won. And so when I rack my brain and go through the history of the Metro Stars and then the early days of the Red Bulls, I mean, the fact that they hadn't won an Open Cup or a Shield or an MLS Cup all the way up to that point was mind-blowing to me. And it still is kind of mind-blowing that they haven't won an Open Cup or an MLS Cup. But being a part of that Supporter Shield in 2013, where we had to win on the last day of the season at Red Bull Arena against the Chicago Fire, we went down 1-0. Thierry Henry was just at his MLS best in that game. If you remember the goal he scored in the first half, just disgusting. And being a part of that and seeing Mike Petke, who was a Red Bull legend, be able to win the first trophy. Thierry, guys like Fernando Ruiz, who, if people don't know who he is, he's probably the longest-serving kit manager in Kitman and MLS. And
I remember Henry had him take the shield and come over to the fans and orchestrated the whole thing.
Yeah, Thierry took the shield from whoever had it and was like, no one's touching this, and he gave it to Fernando, and that was a great gesture. But shout out to Fernando Ruiz. I think he's retiring after this year. Love you, Poppy. You're the man. But that 2013 season was really special, and it was really amazing to be a part of that first trophy.
Alexis, and for your career, which of the trophies that you won was the best experience?
I think the trophy that I think is most successful for me, or at least represents me the most, is if you go to the Cooligans YouTube page, you can watch me help Kyle Martino become less pretty. I helped him cut his hair on Instagram Live, and we put it up on our YouTube channel. So
you did a solid for the normal people.
Hell yeah, dude. Us ugly dudes got to have some shine, okay? I've ruined my man's fade. That's what I do. I think at this point, Patrick Mullins scores pretty soon, right?
I do believe so. So 15 minutes left. Nervy moments for us.
You guys start to relax. You start thinking about what Ironbound restaurant you're going to celebrate at.
It could have been that. Could have been the fact that we were down a man for 40 minutes up to this point, and the way we play, we put so much energy into the game. We're always bound to drop our energy levels a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see this goal.
Here, and this is difficult for me to say, but one of the things that I absolutely loved about the year of the Invincibles, I'm an Arsenal fan, is that even when they went down to 10 men, there it is. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. From a cross, too, which we were just getting garbage crosses.
Jason Kreis looks like a genius.
Not exactly. It just happened to work out. But That moment right there was
But
a
if you
good
look
release,
at this,
though.
if you look at this play, I mean, watch this though. Like, still, we're in such good position. This is a little bit of a mistake on our part. A missed clearance. My man Poku making something happen, and this is an unbelievable cross, by the way. And I will say, Kamar Lawrence, he kind of falls asleep here on this play at the back post and lets the guy Mullins get inside of him. Kamar Lawrence is so fast and so athletic that there's really not a player in MLS that could just run by him. So it took him a little while to stop having those little lapses in concentration because he just thought he could make up for it with his athleticism. But I think after a year or two, he stopped tuning out a little bit, and that's why he become, for me, the best left back in MLS the last couple of years. But this was a nervy moment for us, for sure.
He also had that beast of a goal with Jamaica, that free kick. That was him, right?
Yeah, that was sick. That was sick.
Well, the credit I was going to give you is the Invincibles played just as good with 10 men as they did with 11. And that was something that I realized about Jesse Marsh's teams, especially in a game like this. It's like, damn, they go down to 10 and they could still hold their shape. They could still stay compact. They could still get their passes. They could still do what they want. It was so frustrating to watch.
But that's what I loved about playing for those teams was that our MO was, it was to high press, but we had so much quality as well going forward. Like, we could still keep the ball. We could still make chances through possession. We could still hit you in transition. Like, Jesse, even though we were down a man, like, he still said to us, like, I want you guys to attack with pace. Oh, Dane Richards, man. Wow.
Here's a Red Bull legend.
Talk about pace. Dane Richards, what a legend. But those teams were so fun to play for because we weren't just all about high press, only create chances that way. Like, we still enjoyed having the ball. We still enjoyed possessing it. We still enjoyed being creative, right? And I think after I left, after Sasha left, after Lloyd Sam and Mike Grella left, I think Red Bull almost went really far in the direction of, like, we don't even really want to possess the ball that well. Like, we want to have crush teams with just pressing them to death and creating chances and scoring tons of goals that way. Oop, that was a pretty bad touch by me.
Dax, we got a question here from Alt Football who wants to know what it's like being on an expansion team. Does it bring a new level of excitement or maybe worry about how it all come together?
I think a little bit of both. It's a good question. There's always a little bit of a fear of how things are going to turn out because, look, I mean, NYCFC 2015, it didn't turn out well because it's a new team. You don't know. You just really don't know. But for me, I took that a little bit of nervous energy, maybe a little bit of that fear, if you will, and I channeled it into excitement because it's the part of you're being a part of history. You can try to build something from the ground level up, and I've said this numerous times. I was really sold on the people that are building this team behind the scenes, the ownership group, the city of Nashville, the buzz that it was creating around that, and for me, the feeling is just incredibly positive. It's incredibly positive to be a part of this right now, and it's really a shame that obviously this happened in the pandemic. Just because from a sports perspective, you really felt like teams were starting to build momentum, especially us in Nashville. We had 60,000 at our first game against Atlanta. There was a lot of pride and a lot of good momentum and a lot of good feelings being built up. So there's definitely way more excitement than nervousness. I really like the shape and the build of our team right now.
Alexis, you notice Dax on the long game keeps seeding the doubt comparing to 2015 NYCFC. Casually, like, expansion teams, it's tough, man, I get it.
Look at this team.
Yeah, he's like, it's expansion teams. Well, them, not me, baby. We got it under control.
Alexis, how about this? How about I give you this hypothetical? You put David Villa onto our Nashville expansion team. I think we're instantly one of the favorites.
Oh, I would say so.
MLS Cup?
Maybe not the favorites for MLS Cup, but definitely
but you're
one
guaranteed
of the favorites
going to the playoffs.
To do very well in the league. Exactly. Yeah. A proven 20, 25 goal scorer, a guy with his quality. Wow.
Dax, reversal. You go join Queensboro FC in USL. Guaranteed playoff favorite coming into the season.
Isn't that his USL team?
That's why
cool.
David Villa sent me on this broadcast to invite
Hopefully when stuff starts up again, that'll be cool to see how that plays out.
I'm just glad that Queensboro FC is going to start playing because I've been a fan of theirs since I was a little boy. Really excited.
Hashtag tradition.
Yeah, dude. The poster on my wall. growing up?
Alexis,
Dax.
did you ever get a chance to meet David? Did you ever get a chance to interact with him?
Yeah, actually, we were, myself and Christian, the Cooligans, at Soccer Cooligans on everything. We were the hosts for Designated Player, his YouTube media channel. So we got to meet him a couple times. And he is just a sweetheart. Like, first of all, he's petite.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
But, like, he's tiny. And I'm like, how are you the same guy that people can't knock off the ball? You know? He's so like a small if I fart, he moves. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a shock to see. But he really is, like, his legs are insane huge.
If I had to describe David Villa to someone, if they like asked me about him, I would just say, like, this guy is just an absolute gentleman. Like, he's just a classy dude all around. Like, look at his highlights on the field. Like, everything he does, every touch, every goal he scored, he just was classy. And then off the field, he was a great dude. I had a chance to interact with him at the 2015 All-Star game, and he was just a really humble, nice, down-to-earth guy. And you would never be like, this is the leading goal scorer for Spain and a World Cup champion and a Champions League winner. And he was really gracious with his time. And that was one of the jerseys I wanted to get in MLS. And we ended up trading after one of our Red Bull NYC games. And that jersey was in the man cave in Chicago for a hot minute until I had to move.
My favorite part of that story is how upset the Rebel fans are to hear that you have a David Villa jersey.
I'm sure any Red Bull fan would if I were to say I'll mail it to you, I think they would gladly take that jersey.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but you got to watch out, Dax. You don't know what they're going to do with it after they get it.
Secretly wear it under the Rebel jersey?
You get a game worn David Villa jersey, ain't NYCFC, doesn't matter. You're not gonna parade around the jersey, but you're definitely gonna.
Is that telling me that you wouldn't throw back a home run if you caught from the away team? I don't know your baseball team.
Hold on, if I send Alexis a game worn Thierry Henry Red Bull jersey signed, what are you gonna tell me?
He's an Arsenal fan.
I said Red Bull jersey though.
Yeah, but it's still Henry. It's TH.
I have a Thierry Henry signed Red Bull scarf.
See?
Okay, but you're not getting rid of it.
I'm keeping it because
if it's a Thierry Henry Arsenal scarf, then that is one thing. But it's a Red Bull scarf.
If it's a Rafa Marquez, if it's a Rafa Marquez signed jersey, it gets auctioned off on eBay. Okay.
What about Aurelian Collin?
That's why I didn't use Rafa as an example.
Also, I would put it on eBay.com.mx, all right? Because I know how to make things move, baby.
Alexis, one of our fans, Paul Salazar, wants to know why is Patrick Mullins the best forward to play in MLS?
Also, I didn't know you had a burner account, David Gus. I think, you know what?
No, he didn't play for Red Bulls too, so he's not one of my guys.
That's a good point. He didn't score 48 goals at Red Bulls too.
Yeah, only Brandon Allen and Speedy Williams.
I'll say this about Patrick Mullins. It's like the backup quarterback mentality. Like, he's the most beloved guy in whatever city he's in. Patrick Mullins was by far one of the most beloved players on that team. Everyone loved him. He could do no wrong because when he came in, the dude put shots on frame. And that's, as a striker, you just want to see chances. I want to see the keeper get tested, especially someone like Luis Robles, who just never looked like we put that much pressure on him, or at least he certainly didn't look bothered by it. But Patrick Mullins could bother anybody. He was like a little, like, if you ever go down the shore, those little green head bugs, like if you swat at them, they get angrier. That's Luis Robles. I mean, that's Patrick Mullins.
I tell you what, watching this game back, guys, I had my 2 years that I was at Red Bull, that we had this rivalry against NYCFC. It felt really one-sided, and I say that not to try to stir up some emotions in Alexis, but
like you've done this whole broadcast.
I say that because it felt like that, but watching this game back again, obviously being down a man, I think it contributes to it. But NYCFC was really competitive in this game. I mean, this game was first of all was not an easy game to play, but even then, NYCFC, it felt like these last 10, 15 minutes, it was pretty nervy for us. And so I'll say that this first game was probably the most competitive one, other than the one that they beat us. I believe it was at Yankee Stadium, that first win in 2016 they got.
Oh, it felt good.
You had to wait a whole year and a half for it.
Worth the wait, Dax. I don't take anything away from it. Also, you forget that You forget that I sat from the opening whistle to the final whistle, maybe like 20 minutes after the match. I just sat there during that 7-0. I didn't go anywhere. So that first win felt like the few wins we've had against Red Bull have always felt really good.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, Alexis, I assume it takes over 90 minutes to eat a full chicken bucket.
Yeah,
You
dude.
probably have to stay post-game for a little.
I feel like we should do like a celebration. Like, in some of those college footballs, they have like a jug or something. We should do like a chopped cheese. You know what I mean? Like, whoever wins gets to eat the chopped cheese.
Did you guys just see Poku just like run through me like I wasn't even there?
Yep.
That was fun.
First of all, I mean, you put a helmet on that guy, he's a linebacker tomorrow. He's got shoulders like a Greek god.
Yeah, he does.
Didn't he play for Anji
out of this
Mahachkali? Anji Mahachkala?
Yeah, he's over. He's far east right now. Whether it's Russia or Kazakhstan or whichever stan you want to choose. He's hanging
up, Gas?
out right now. What does Jesse say coming out of this one? Like, was this a rally up point, or was it
Yeah,
just...
it was really important. I think that the message, and it wasn't just from Jesse, it was from everyone on the group, because Jesse was very inclusive in how he wanted the players to really buy into this process and have a stake in saying what needed to be said. But I think it was important from the get-go to set the tone for how we wanted not only this whole season to go, but also for how we wanted this rivalry to shake out. And so showing the character that we did to actually get the win in this game, being down a man for more than 50, 55 minutes, it was a really good springboard for us to go on and have more success this year.
Do you like it when some people try and play things down?
Um,
Have you ever been a part of a group going into a big game where a coach says, like,
Not a
hey,
foul.
pretend it's not a big deal, act like you don't notice?
100% a foul, by the way. Probably a red card, actually. Shocked it wasn't a red. I do.
Damn, it was
I
Matty
think
Bellucci
that-
too, huh? It be your own people.
Red card. Clear red card. Look at this. From behind.
Dude,
studs up.
there was a bug on his shirt. That's what they don't tell you. You can't see it. You know what I mean? But sure, he saved
He
that
was
man's
helping
life.
him?
You didn't know he was allergic to bees. You know what I mean?
You know what, Gas? I like a coach and a mindset from the group that's making sure that they're treating it like a big game, but having the awareness and the calm presence to be able to not get too worked up about it. I mean, I know that's kind of a loaded answer, but I think mentally you have to flip a switch, right? Like playing in this game against NYCFC isn't the same as us playing against the Colorado Rapids at Red Bull Arena. It's just not. I don't care any way you slice it. Ooh, that would have been on frame. I think that was going top bins. But anyways.
Do you say that about every shot you watch back?
I do.
If it
There was
would
a
have
shot
been on
earlier.
frame,
There was a shot.
it would have
there was
been
a
top
left-footed
ends. That's great.
There was a left-footed shot I had earlier in this game that got blocked that I was like, ooh, that would have gone in if it didn't get blocked. For sure.
That's like me saying if that joke was funny, it would have crushed. It's like, yeah.
No. It's not the joke. It's the delivery. The delivery is where you screw up.
Right.
But look, you can't not treat games like this and games against DC United like they're not big games, because they are. So you want a coach that acknowledges that. You want a coach that makes sure guys are up for it. But you don't want guys to be nervous, right? If guys are nervous, I think that's when you start games the wrong way and you're in for trouble. So I think it was a really good approach to this game. And then obviously coming out of it afterward, we were really confident. Get up, Wingert.
Does it
Long
help
Island,
when the coach
baby.
is very
Stand
like when the coach is very like emotional on the sideline, or do you like one who's a bit more stoic and you just like at poker face you can't get in?
I like a coach. I like a coach that gets emotional and that's really invested in everything. You know, I like a coach that has an emotional investment into how the game is going and how the game's being called, into how his players are playing. To give a non-MLS example, like Diego Simeone, like what a guy to play for. Like, I mean, just absolutely insane, and the guy looks nuts on the sideline, but like imagine being a player for Atletico Madrid and seeing your coach like gesticulating and sprinting up and down the sideline and like clapping and like pumping the crowd up like when you make a big tackle or like the goalkeeper makes a big save. I love it, man. I love that energy and that passion when coaches show that.
Here we go.
Dax, you making the run here?
Chance. think that's Dane Richards. That's our fullback, Chris Duval, by the way. 91st minute,
shot
we're
it like
only
a
nursing a
fullback.
1-goal lead. Yeah, he did. But look, our fullback is like, what a tackle.
Ooh,
Dude, that should
that
have
was
been a red card,
start
Dax.
out there.
That was a great tackle. I should have shot it again, but I was trying to get greedy. I went for the Meg on RJ.
You also just tried to...
Did you
See me, did you see me foul Poku there? I
you
fouled
tried.
Poku there, and I literally almost had to jump on his back to foul him.
You almost backpacked him.
Little Giant style.
Yeah, dude.
Looking back, it was incredibly foolish how we were playing this last like 5-6 minutes. Like we were just bombarding forward like crazy.
If only
We
you
were
started
dead,
this
though.
way, we
Look at
would have
that.
had a chance.
I'm growing the hair back out like that. The fluff.
Hey, look.
You have a
I mean,
different.
when it's
you
red,
have a
you gotta
different
let it
edge
go.
when you're fluffy.
Your skin gets pretty pink, Dax, when you're in the 90 plus minutes.
And when I'm yelling at a ref, same pigment.
Alexis, where were you at this time?
I was performing in Wisconsin, so I'm watching this on my phone, fully angry, fully crying,
That's
about to
even
go on
worse.
stage. I think I actually missed the last like 5 minutes of it because I had to get on stage.
This was wild, dude. NYCFC had like 7-8 guys in the box. And look at us, like we're still bombarding forward. I think he was offside there by just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. Our keeper's basically at the other end.
I look back at this game and I just think that, especially under the circumstances, we had to do anything that we could to get the win. Like, forget the fact that it's an expansion team. Like, these are the new noisy neighbors coming in to kind of steal our turf. And the fact that it was the first game, I think it was a really important moment in the history of what this rivalry is becoming and has become. So to get the win and to be a part of it was really, what a terrible call too, by the way.
Yeah.
Clearly
Gone.
onside. Would have been 3-1. Thanks for
What
coming.
angle did you guys just get?
He's
behind midfield,
He's behind
Alexis.
midfield, Alexis. You know the
It's a
rules of
line
soccer.
in the ground. It's the least arbitrary part of offside.
I saw my man step over that. I don't know what you're talking about.
In the VAR days, hopefully the assistant would have let that go, and we would have been celebrating 3-1.
Wait, note that down. Dax is pro VAR, so when he complains next time,
I am
we
pro
can roll
VAR.
that clip
No,
out.
I am pro VAR. I am against some interpretations of VAR, but it has to be said. MLS, I think, gets it right more often than they get it wrong with the VAR. Premier League was excruciating to watch.
Yeah, because they would
Alexis,
never
when you
even
got
go
asked
see
to
the
do this
screen.
game,
Exactly.
when you got asked to do this game, when you think about it now, rewatching it, what's your thoughts on it?
That I'm glad that clearly someone, that someone at the wheel made a mistake and invited a Cooligan on here. But this has been amazing, just to get a chance to sort of talk to Dax and see what was in the players' heads. And I will still say they needed to win this game, because if they lost this game, they would have lost the city in total and the metro area. So they needed to win this game more than we did at that time. But it's been a lot of fun to get an inside perspective on what happened. And if you want anything like this but without facts, watch the Cooligans.
Well, at this time, New York was still red, so Dax got his job done. He did what he had to do. Don't forget, we're all doing what we have to do. We are staying home. We are helping to spread the curve just a little bit more. Hashtag MLS Unites, though. You can go to your local clubs to see what's going on. And, of course, you can keep coming to MLSsoccer.com for all your content. The Rumble at RFK 2004 MLS Playoffs. DC United against the New England Revolution. That one coming up next Wednesday. Aleko Eskandarian, DC United legend. Taylor Twellman, the largest head in soccer media. And Andrew Wiebe, arguably the second largest head. And Matt Doyle will be on for that one. But me and Alexis will at some point sneak in and just, take over. But you guys, any last thoughts? Anything you got to leave us with, Dax?
Yeah, I do have a last thought. Alexis, I do agree with you that if we would have lost that first game, we might have lost a little bit of the city. New York probably would have been more blue than red. But then if you fast forward a little bit and you go to the Red Wedding, the 7-0 game, anyone we lost was coming right back. They were coming right back with open arms, and we would have embraced them, and we would have said, listen, come on over here. we know you want to come back in to celebrate in this historic MLS moment.
Get a
But in the
pitcher's
famous
mound in your
words-
stadium, and I'll respect it.
People don't forget, Alexis. People don't forget. Thanks, you guys, all for watching. This has been MLS Classics Rematch, and stick to MLSsoccer.com for your upcoming schedule. Dax, Alexis, thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.